Battlers, I am back. Welcome to another episode of the United Podcast Match Rewind Edition. When it comes to hard work, battlers, and getting the job done right, none do it better than our great mates at A+ Contracting and Poly Welding. Just like the Newcastle Knights leave it out on the field every single week, A+ brings that same level of dedication to the mining and civil projects industry. They are the experts you need for professional, cost-effective, and comprehensive contracting services. They do the hard work, battlers, so you don't have to. Well, what an absolutely monumental show we have for you tonight, battlers. That's right, the Knights traveling all the way across to Perth for a big old showdown against the high-flying Finns, who have just been blowing teams off the park for fun for the last 3 games leading up to this clash. The Knights having their setbacks in this game. That's right, our boy Dan Guy. A sin binning there was a crucial part of the game. We lost our boy razor sharp with only 10 minutes into the second half of this football game. So we had our setback, battlers, but shortly after losing that lead in that sin binning period, our boy, Mr. Nightanian, Brodie Jones, comes up with a match winner with mere seconds left in this football game to clinch victory from the Dolphins. But look, plenty more talking points from that game. Dominic Young makes his triumphant return after a sensational performance. Looked like he hadn't even left the building. Bags himself a try also, and Bradman Best. Boy, oh boy, we want to talk about the 2023 backline reunion tour where it kicked off with an absolute bang. Brady coming back in a big, big way. He was absolutely huge. Not only that, we'll take a look at some of the United news this week. We'll be anointing your LGB Marine Titanium Forge Player of the Week, as well as my PayCat United Players of the Week, and answering your Get Out Alive fire safety training burning questions. So, battlers, sit back, get ready, as we take a look at the Adam O'Briens and outs of this epic game against the Dolphins. Let's go! All right. First things first this week. I want to get it off my chest. Been sitting on this one for a while. State of origin. Now, look, we're going to get to some more officiating qualms in this game. I don't know what's up with the officiating over in Perth, but some very questionable calls. Shout out to Retro and Hainsey, who joined me on the New South Wales Blues stream team, the debut stream for the New South Wales Blues stream team. But boy, oh boy, the more and more I'm reflecting on it, the more and more I feel like the Queenslanders had an absolutely hollow victory. I just want to put that on public record. I felt like when Ashley Klein did put the whistle away, the Blues were more dominant. Were absolutely more dominant. It was only for the fact that we can't kick conversions to save our life at this point, which I feel like if there's some way of trying to get Dane Gagai into the Blue squad purely just to kick footballs, let's do that. But boy, oh boy, it's just, I thought it would have been over it by now. And look, I know we're going to go get the job done over in Sydney. I don't think we're going to get a refereeing performance like that once more, particularly in front of our own in Sydney. But I just want to put it on the record. I feel like it was quite poor, really poor refereeing performance. I know I got a lot of Queenslander mates who are trying to justify this shit, just like these Rooster supporters trying to justify this bloody grounding with the forearm rubbish. But battlers, I hope, it's not keeping you awake at night like it is me, because it just stings. I hate losing to the Queenslanders, and it's just been eating me alive. The more and more I think about it, the more and more I hate it. So, look, that's my first things first this week. Brought to you by Newcastle Mixed Martial Arts, which is Newcastle's Lake Macquarie's and the Harness highest rated mixed martial arts gym with more than 350 Google 5-star reviews. Beginners are welcomed into their fun, inclusive, and most importantly, fun training centers. Head coach Jess Landry's experience includes being directly trained by UFC veterans, as well as the wrestling coach of the Sydney Roosters. Newcastle Mixed Martial Arts is centrally located in Cardiff, right beside the Cardiff train station, offering day and night classes for kids, teens, and adults, including Muay Thai kickboxing, gi and no-gi Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and mixed martial arts. So make sure you go book your free trial right now by visiting their website at newcastlemma.com. All right, battlers. Well, if you're enjoying the show or if you're not enjoying the show, look, doesn't matter. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe on all social media platforms. Wherever you're wasting your time on social media, I can guarantee you my face is somewhere there. So make sure you're following us across all social media platforms. Really does help us out here. Gets the listenership going, gets more battlers involved. So yeah, if you're watching the live stream right now, give it a big old thumbs up. If you're listening to it, leave me a big old 5-star review. Goes a long way. Help your boy out. All right, let's kick it off this week with some United news. Unfortunately, some injury news, some particularly bad one too. Our boy Razor Sharp didn't look good, did it? 10 minutes coming out of the sheds at the second half. Puts in a really, really nice chip and chase effort. Jeremy Marshall-King wraps our boy up from behind and bang, the head just makes contact with the ground. And he looked like he was in all sorts. So, but that wasn't the worst of it, it would appear. He's going to be remaining in the Perth hospital for a number of days due to a lacerated kidney. Some abdominal pain for our boy Razor Sharp. Now, look, some diagnosis has been floating around, looking between 4 to 6 months, going off previous cases. So let's hope it's not too serious, but we could be potentially staring down at least a month of football without our boy Razor Sharp, which would be absolutely crazy. He has been such a fresher breath of air for this football team.
Adam says, "Give Fletcher kidney, Linc."
I'll gladly give him a kidney. Let's start the movement, Adam. If you got a kidney you want to give up, let's try and find a match. I'm sure we all can. But boy, oh boy, I'm no doctor, but a lacerated kidney does not sound fun at all. So, yeah, shout out to Fletch. He's going to be staying. Imagine that, too. Of all places, being stuck all the way over in Perth as well. So, yeah, let's hope we'll get some more news, I'm sure, next week regarding maybe how long he's going to be out for. But, geez, 4 to 6 weeks, that's going to hurt. That is going to hurt. So, stay tuned, battlers, for our boy Razor Sharp there. Moving across also. Now, Paul Bryan, cast your minds back that round 12 game against the Panthers. Here's the tough bastard that dislocated his shoulder, pretty much mere seconds on coming onto the football field, attempting to make his first tackle. Dislocates it, pops it back in, comes in and out, refused to come off the field. We absolutely loved his effort there. Now, strangely, this is a bit of a strange one, has rejected the Newcastle Knights 2-year contract extension, opting to go to the open market. This one took me by surprise. He's a guy that's been ruled out for the rest of the season, yet he wants to test his market value. Ballsy move after making, only one NRL appearance. Don't know what's going on there, but very interesting. I thought, when that news came through of him getting that extension, I thought it was great news for both parties, but interesting.
Sorry, before you move on, Lincoln, Loops just said you mean 4 to 6 weeks, not months.
Oh, wait, did I say months?
You must have, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Said 4 to 6 months.
No, not 4 to 6 months. Jesus Christ. No. Sorry. I digress. No, I meant 4 to 6 weeks. Sorry. Everyone's just sitting in a bloody tailspin at the moment. No, battlers, I apologize. 4 to 6 weeks, so at least a month. Maybe a month of football without our boy Razor Sharp. But yes, Paul Bryan. So, very interesting. Came through the juniors. You would have thought, he'd snatch up that 2-year deal, secure his short-term future after, he's highly unlikely to play another game this year. I don't know what's going on there, but stay tuned. Paul Bryan rejecting the first offer the Knights have given him. So anyways, but look, here's another little bit of a curly one. Talon De Silva being linked to the Newcastle Knights. So the 20-year-old West Tigers hooker, only 21 games into his NRL career, has been granted immediate permission to talk with rival clubs and is free to leave before the June 30 deadline. Now, there are reports that apparently the Newcastle Knights have floated the idea of giving up KPP in an immediate swap. So the West Tigers would get Kai Pearce-Paul. We would get our hands on Talon De Silva before the June 30 deadline. Now, I got asked about this during the Knights watch last night during the game. The more I think about it, the more I hate it. I'm loving what Kai's bringing to the club. I feel like we're starting to get some really nice pieces together. Even though we're only going to have him for the, for the next, whatever it is, 14 rounds or whatever it is left. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't want to. I think our hooker stocks are pretty good. You got young Matty Arthur still there. Jaden Brayley, he's absolutely killing it at the moment. He's got some really good form. So, yeah, this is a perplexing one for me. Why they want to get their hands on him so quickly. There was a lot of chat. The more I was on the Knights watch, sort of sidestepping a bit here about maybe Phoenix Crossland playing 13 so much. Maybe long-term, the Newcastle Knights are seeing him as their lock forward. We all know the sweet potato. It looks like he's been on the outer. He's been sort of talked about as leaving the club at the end of the year. So we'll get to a bit more of that in the review. But, yeah, Talon De Silva. Look, West Tigers supporters love Talon. He must have the most immaculate eyebrows in the comp. I know you were certainly commenting on it, Lou, before we went on.
Absolutely. I'm jealous.
Yeah, they are absolutely impeccable. I'll tell you what, if you got rugby league points for eyebrows, you'd give them $1 million. Yeah, they are schmick. But anyways, yeah, so Talon De Silva, so stay tuned. Yeah, it's getting right towards that June 30 deadline. It's going to be some moving and shaking in the market. The rugby league market is only going to be heating up more and more. So keep your eyes peeled. Maybe a deal between the Newcastle Knights and the West Tigers before that deadline, battlers. All right, let's do it. Let's sink our rugby league teeth into this football game. That's right, the Newcastle Knights defeating the Dolphins 26 points to 20. This game had just about everything. But you know what? Let's kick it off. We've got a hotline call here from our boy Justin. Let's take a listen.
What a game. What a game it was last night, guys. Yeah, it was awesome to be watching it on the big screen while I had Linc and Lou and the fellow battlers on the phone watching the sideline session. And to see Linc's reaction when Brody Jones scored what would probably be considered the sweetest try of his career. It's absolutely incredible to watch that passage of play. The kick from Crossland, the mistake from the hammer, Crossland scooping up that ball and getting it to Brady Best doing what he does best and palming off defenders here and there. And then the pass to Brody Jones, who probably scored the sweetest try of his career last night. Frustrating with some of the way the refereeing was done, but yeah, we dug deep and we played well. Dominic Young, what can I say? It's good to have the boy back in our colours again. But yeah, let's go Knights. Been on next week. I reckon we can beat the Raiders. Come on, let's go.
On you, Justin. Hey, an air of positivity. There was an air of positivity in the roster review. There was some lock-it-ins there, certainly favouring the Newcastle Knights. And, yeah, absolutely shocking. A few punters there. But you're right, some absolutely stellar performances. I was trying to go back. 10 points to the battler who can name the game. I think it was in 2021 where Brody Jones came out with a very similar match-winning type ending to the game, the clinch victory for the Newcastle Knights. I think it was at Central Coast Stadium in 2021, I think. But Brody, this is the second time Brody's done this. But yeah, he was, talk about right place, right time. And I thought we'd absolutely butchered that last play. Jack Cogger being tackled on the 30-metre line, thinking, oh, God, who's going to kick one now with about a minute to go on the clock? But look, we'll get there. But yeah, some absolutely huge performances by some of the boys. And the big talking point, contesting kicks. The Newcastle Knights contesting kicks once more. It started right from the start of the game. That's right. If you cast your minds back at the start of the game, Razor Sharp scores within the first 5 minutes of the football game after Jack Cogger puts up a perfectly timed, like perfectly weighted kick. Dominic Young gets in there, contests the ball. The hammer spills his lollies, for the first time in the game. And who's there ready to pounce on it? Our boy Razor Sharp. And then you go all the way back. The last try of the game comes from contesting the kick. I know we've been sitting here screaming at our television screens for so long, saying, why don't the Newcastle Knights contest kicks? Well, here we go. Let's hope now the floodgates open and everyone, maybe Dominic Young's arrival has at least brought that back to the Newcastle Knights. It's finally contesting these kicks because ultimately, that's what won us the game.
Here you go, Lincoln, against the Sharks, Adam said, with Brody. And then Dylan said, yep, versus Sharks on a Friday night.
There you go. So it was 2021 at Central Coast Stadium. I don't know.
Hobby said, I think we may have done it at home too. Maybe it wasn't Brody though. Maybe it was the Tigers game.
I don't
I
know.
don't remember.
I don't know why I got Central Coast Stadium in my head. Maybe I'm completely wrong. But yeah. Well, there you go.
It was against the
Sharkies.
Shark. Blake Green kick goes backwards, I believe.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Thanks,
there was a crazy Blake Green kick before that. Yeah, that preceded it. That's right. Yeah. Well, contesting contesting the high ball paid dividends, didn't it? The Hammer had a bit of a mixed game. Had a couple of plays he loved back, but certainly played in our favour. Coughed up his lollies a couple of times, and it went into our favour. Absolutely went into our favour. But yeah, start of the game, I thought we looked in control, didn't we? We looked good really, really quickly. Tyson Frizzell was really good. We were talking about the last couple of weeks really missing that stalwart veteran prop forward, and he brought some real good energy. He was quite immense, I thought, to start the game. I thought Matty Croker had a far better performance this game also to start the game, simply by having Tyson there. So thought we did really good in that regard, because looking at some of the statistics from this game, right, this is why defense matters so much. Looking at all the key statistics for the game, in attack, the Dolphins actually dominated us in every metric. When it comes to, what have I got here? Slightly in favour in possession, 52 to our 48. They had 202 runs for 1,800, just over 1,800 run meters. The Newcastle Knights only 182 for 1,568. So they ran more than us. They had post-contact meters. They were beating us at 515 to our 498. 6 line breaks to 3. 7 offloads to our 5. So in a lot of metrics, you would look at it and go, they were certainly the better team, as far as statistically was concerned with the ball in hand. But where it all comes undone, here we go, tackle breaks. The Newcastle Knights breaking 40 tackles compared to the Dolphins, 21. So they were absolutely dominated in that regard. The Newcastle Knights with a 92% tackle efficiency compared to the Dolphins, 88%. So the Dolphins missing 40 tackles to our 21. So we made more tackles. We made 401 tackles to their 351. However, they missed twice as many tackles than we did. So as we were saying on the roster review show, that titanium field defense, you cannot knock the boys in the effort areas. That's why this time last week, I was trying to separate the effort areas of defense compared to the philosophical blueprint playbook issues that are plaguing the Knights. The two aren't sort of intertwined. There's clearly something going wrong there, but the Knights attack, it looked good. It looked just as good as what we did in the second half against the Seagulls. Played with real width. Jack Cogger, I want to touch on Jack Cogger a little bit. I thought he had some really great touches. I thought Kalen Ponga immediately to start the game, he just got himself in there. There's so many times we've perhaps been a little bit critical of Kalen Ponga by, hasn't interjected himself into the game, but, immediately took some tough carries. Looked like he's carrying something. We obviously know he wasn't on kicking duties. That was hand of the gags. He had some strapping on the right knee, but immediately Kalen Ponga was in the game. He was instrumental. He was quite good.
Yeah, Carly said KP looked good, engaged, and interested in getting the ball. Was good to see. Also thought his presser was good compared to other weeks.
Yeah, no, definitely a good game for our boy Kalen Ponga. It was a good game from Kalen. It's not kind of the game we're used to Kalen. I think a lot of people are still comparing him to 2023, where he was just single-handed brilliance. Just the footwork and stuff was just crazy. I feel like he is still hampered a little bit. He's quite not 100%, so that's going to affect that part of his game. But, geez, the kicking game wasn't it on point. Just some brilliant kicks. That linkage up with our boy Brady Best for a couple of tries there were absolutely instrumental. Tough bugger. I thought Kalen Ponga was huge this game. Exactly what we needed from our captain, backing up from State of Origin. So, he wasn't afforded the rest like he was last week. Last Origin. Adam O'Brien naming him, but he was huge. I felt like he had a far better performance than the Hammer did for the Dolphins. Look in comparison to those two guys. Hamiso, yeah, some really critical errors at really critical points of the game. Gifted us some quality field position. But yeah, it didn't come with a bit. There was a little bit of ill discipline that crept into the Newcastle Knights. I think it was the second try to the Dolphins. Again, I think it was just we piggybacked off the give them a penalty down there, and I think it was like 2-6 against or a penalty or something. It was like 9 to 10, 12, something tackles within our red zone back to back to back, and then Isaiah Katoa, who we talked about in the roster review show, who we kept pretty darn quiet. We kept him pretty quiet by his lofty standards over the last 3 weeks. Still had some quality touches, though. Caught Razor a bit flat-footed, had him sort of second-guessing what he was going to do, but had that little link up with Lemuelu, the crossover there, and then their first try. Going back, I was so close to calling it as I don't know why we didn't get the obstruction play. But it did. I had to watch it back a couple of times. It was Gags made a really poor read. When you saw Oren Keeley sort of coming, making a decoy run, Gags sort of just made a defensive decision. Unfortunately, to go for Oren there and then left poor old Dom in no man's land, sort of a 2-on-1 overlap. So I know early that didn't look great from the right edge. So there's a couple of little things there defensively, but look, all in all, pretty darn good. But let's talk about our boy making his triumphant return, Dominic Young. How good was it seeing the rugby league smile on that bloke's face, hey? That was obviously one of the highlights. I know Brody Jones scored on that try, but geez, it looked good just seeing him score a try and that big old smile on his face, right, Lou?
Yep. Sean Geary said it was great to see Dom back in the red and blue, scoring and smiling.
Yeah, it just felt right. It just felt right. It's the old saying, sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side, but what's done is done now. We can't undo that. The most important thing is he's back with us. He's in the proper tricolours. That's right, the TRY colours for the Newcastle Knights. But yeah, geez. Came out and scored a try in his first game back with the Knights. And I want to use this as a segue to talk about our boy, the Schiller Instinct. Now, I went on, did an Insta Live, minutes after doing the Knights watch, and there was quite a few comments about our boy Schiller Instinct, which I don't quite get. Copping a lot of flack now. I love James Schiller, and I think a lot of people forget how early he is into his rugby league career. As I keep saying, I don't even think he's notched up. I think this was game 29 for James Schiller. Now, look, I know he's got some comparisons to our boy Sean Kenny Dow. Had a couple of errors this game again, but boy, oh boy, there's no denying that man is a big, tough, physical football player. That Dominic Young try was all set up off the back of some great work James Schiller did. There was some really, really good passage of play. So Dylan Lucas runs a really, really good outside inline. He's going to draw in Jeremy Marshall-King and Katoa and just leaving pretty much Jake Avarillo to try and jam up on KP really fast. But Kalen Ponga with some silky hands does a quick tip-on pass out to Brady, and Brady does the same thing, just a quick tip-on pass, and bang, off goes Schiller. And Schiller's gone. I think he breaks 3 tackles. He's going to break 3 tackles, James Schiller. Katoa, Jeremy Marshall-King, and Ray Stone to link back up with Cogs. And then that's where, we're playing front foot football. Their scramble defense was quite good. But, yeah, it was only a couple of plays later where Cogs manages to shift back out to the right there. Beautiful cutout pass to Gags. Again, quick tip on to his winger, and he just strolls on through untouched. So, look, I still thought Shills had a really good game. He's a great finisher. He's fucking strong. I know he's not that massive commanding presence, kind of like, he's not built like Dominic Young or Greg Marzu, but boy, oh boy, he's a tough football player. I don't quite understand how much the criticism James Schiller cops. If someone's in the chat who disagrees with me, let me know. But I thought he was really good. Again, he's got to clean up some of these handling areas. I understand that. He's not a finished product just yet. But, geez, for a guy that's only 30 games into his career, he makes a difference. He makes a real difference. let's talk about some statistics. Let's sink our teeth into some player statistics from this game. We'll take a look at some of the outside backs. Dominic Young first, 19 runs, 173 run meters, 55 post contact, got the 3 tackle breaks, obviously got that 1 massive line break, 3 tackles, 0 missed. The only coach killer that Dominic Young had was it straight after the Lemuelu try, caught in front of the kicker off the restart. Would love that one back. That was really the only blip in the radar for Dominic Young. Sensational return. But James Schiller, I'm pretty sure James Schiller got 2nd overall run meters. He did. He's got 2nd overall run meters behind Brady Best. 23 runs, 187 run meters, 57 post contact, 6 tackle breaks. Leading tackle break of this game. Picked up the line break there. 3 tackles, 0 missed. Got the 2 errors. But, geez, James Schiller certainly has a future at this club. And we're all thinking, well, if the Gags thing isn't to be, a game like that, I can just see more and more James Schiller getting a spot on that right centre spot. Thought he was really, really good. Razor Sharp also, unfortunately, not playing the full game. And, when he went down, we're just sitting there thinking, oh, boy, what a kick in the dick this is. Like, how are we going to come back from this? Because, leading into the halftime period there, the Dolphins were really ascending. They really found some momentum. I really feel like that halftime siren came at a really good time for the Newcastle Knights. They really had us on the ropes there, I feel, for a bit. They did let us out towards the end with a cheap penalty, which certainly gifted us, but I thought, boy, maybe another few minutes here, they might get another one on us. We were really sort of backs to the wall kind of stuff then. Losing him in the first 10 minutes, you're just thinking, oh, boy, what a loss. What a loss for a team that's, finding it hard to score points at the best of times. We're losing one of our best attacking players out there. But, credit to the Knights. They still found a way. They still found a way without Razor Sharp. As I said, playing some real great width, which we're all loving. None of this one-out block-shapey type of stuff, more expansive type football, which is a really good blueprint for the Knights. It's weird. It's weird why we're, What are those movies, Lou, when you got the ugly duckling girl that they always dress her up ugly and she's fugly as, and then she finally gets a makeover and everyone's like, oh, there's actually a pretty girl under there the whole time.
Is it the Duff?
The Duff? Is that what it is?
I think so.
What's Duff stand for again?
Oh, I'll have to search that. Give me a
Anyways,
sec.
you know what I mean, Ballas. It's always that girl in the movie that's a bit of the ugly duckling, always wears drab shit, and then they finally give her this makeover, and then bang.
Here it is, designated ugly fat friend.
That's the Newcastle Knights, and they finally got this makeover, and like, oh wow, there's actually a hottie underneath there.
Really, it's just taking someone's glasses off.
Yeah, that's what the Newcastle Knights, they took their ugly glasses off. But there's a really good team there. I've said whenever we lean into that, we look really good. But yeah. So, anyways, Jack Cogger. I want to get to Jack Cogger in a little bit. I want to get let's do it right now. Let's touch on while we're talking on some great performances, let's do it. Let's just dive head first into this week's Nitanium Forge Player of the Week, brought to you by LGB Marine, the experts in building resilience on and off the water. Just like the toughest structures they construct, this week's player has been battle tested and is unshaken and built to withstand anything. LGB Marine strength, precision, resilience. Let's dive into this week's winner and picking up an absolute buttload of votes. I'm not sure I saw another name, to be honest. It's been the most one-sided vote, Nitanium Forge player vote I think I've ever seen. Bradman Best, what a triumphant return for him, missing over a month of football, coming back in, leading run meters for the Newcastle Knights with 193 run meters of 20 runs, 68 post-contact meters, 5 tackle breaks, 2 line break assists. Now, getting back to what I was talking about with some questionable officiating by Ashley Klein and Origin, certainly some very questionable decisions for the Newcastle Knights in this one. We got no favors from the refs in this one. I feel like he could have had an even more enormous impact on the game. I think it was about 10, 15 minutes into the game in the first half when he had that big break down his left edge there, and he threw that pass to Schiller and they called it forward. I don't think any of us were sitting there thinking that one went forward. That one got caught immediately. And then he had that beautiful grubber kick, which started that Jaden Brayley no try. I feel so bad for Jaden Brayley. He could have gone down with all the glory of that game, but he was robbed. And Brodie Jones, we love our boy Mr. 19, but geez, that was a great rugby league try. I don't think anyone anywhere thought that ball went forward. I don't know what he was thinking, the referee in that play, but a great grubber kick by Best. Regathers, gets the ball to KP, one of the great all-time flick passes to Schiller. Again, Schiller does his thing, linking up with Jaden Brayley. Unfortunately, the referees dudded us that one, but again, came off the back of Brady Best, and he was the man that got the offload off to Brodie Jones. You know, Brodie Jones was immense, and he had to be where he had to be, but that wouldn't have happened without Best. I think he beat Katoa there, drew in a defender or two, gets the ball out to Brodie, and he goes on the score. So he had an absolutely monumental return this week, Bradman Best. Every time he just had the football, he just looked dangerous, didn't he? I know coming into doing the Knights watch, going into the Sheds the second half, I just wanted to see more of it. I just wanted to see more of it because I know I've been critical of the Knights this season where I just feel like so many games we just don't see enough attention or enough ball movement towards Brady Best. Just some early ball, because you just feel like more times than not, he's going to spark something. Just things happen around him. He just draws in defenders. He's so big. He's so strong. So, yeah, he was absolutely insane. Like, what a massive, massive return for our boy, Brady Best. So he was your Titanium Forge Player of the Week. While we're giving out awards, let's do it. Let's jump into this week's Knighted Players of the Week, brought to you by Paycat. From a crew in Newey who know their stuff. Whether you're paying the boys on a construction site or sorting out that tricky Shads award, for all your NDIS biz, Paycat makes it dead easy. They back hundreds of businesses and even help an NRL club keep their payroll running smooth. You can run payroll yourself or get the Paycat team to do it for you. Either way, you'll have more time to crack a cold one and watch the footy. Let's take a look at some blokes who earned their pay this week. And yes, I'm in agreement with you guys. Brady Best was absolutely instrumental in this game. As I said before, things just happen around this man, and that was the case. He's just an action magnet. He was huge. Again, G-Train ruled out of this one. He didn't have his partner in crime, Greggy Marzu, but yeah, look, he hit the ground running, and he was solid, which was good to see after missing so much football. So move along, Kalen Ponga. We all know how much I love our boy Kalen Ponga. I was so close, honestly, rewatching the game. There were times there I wanted to give him the 3 points. I really did. He was sensational. As I said, he led, got those two great kicks off to Brady to ice those two moments there. Really elusive, just the tough carries he brought out. What are some of Kalen Ponga's stats into this week here? Let's take a quick look. Got the 2 try assists, obviously 20 runs for 179 run meters, 36 post contact, got the 5 tackle breaks, the 1 offload, 2 tackles, only 1 missed, a little bit, 7 kicks for 186 kick meters. But yeah, he was just a real matured performance by Kalen Ponga. It didn't have to be all razzle dazzle. He still had that little bit of footwork there. But certainly looking at Kalen Ponga in this game compared to what we've seen, some of the incredible performances he was putting together in 2023, very different, but still very, very much influential, which was what we wanted to see. So just goes to show you how much he's evolved his football game. You know, that's like Shawnee Johnson. I'll use Sean Johnson as a great example. Sean Johnson broke out of the scene. He had the mad footwork, great touch footy player. We all remember the highlights of Sean Johnson when he first burst onto the scene. And then later on in his career, he's nothing like that player, is he? He's nothing like that player. And that's what the great players do. They evolve over time. They add more. They're not a one-trick pony. They might be great at one thing, but they just keep adding little things to the game. And obviously when you get older, you can't be doing what you were doing, when you're 20-year-old, when you're pushing in your early 30s. So Yeah, I just really liked what I saw from our captain this week. It was a real good captain's knock. I think this was a really great captain's knock by our boy Kalen Ponga this week. Jack Cogger. Jack Cogger, this is by far the best game that Jack Cogger's played for the Newcastle Knights, full stop. What was I saying in the roster review show? He needed to be the skeleton, not the muscle. And he was brilliant. He actually had some moments of brilliance. I said, his job this week wasn't to just influence the game off sheer brilliance. It was just to get us in places to allow our key pieces to thrive, whether it be Kalen Ponga or Razor Sharp. And look, he had his hands all over this game. I thought he was really good. Great couple of runs there. Some really good kicks there. His long kicking game was quite good, I felt also. Linking up with, he's got dangerous pieces either side of him. That's what I was saying. The rampant right and the lethal left. The Newcastle Knights have a really, really deadly. They've got deadly edges on them. There's absolutely options either sides there for your half the play off of. So he was great. Whether it was linking up with KP or, as I said before, that Dominic Young try, just that fire out that cutout pass to Gags. He played really, really well. He played better than Isaiah Katoa did, put it that way. He was far more instrumental than the most in-form half in the competition leading into this game. So, and that, the forwards have a lot of credit for that too. They gave him a lot of time and space and, the old trope, that platform. But, yeah, Jack Cogger, huge shout out to him. I thought he was absolutely immense. We all know I've been critical of our boy Jack Cogger, and at times I haven't felt convinced. But, I felt like this game, it might be a big turning point for Jack Cogger. I hope it's one of those games that gives him a lot of confidence to kick on and cement his spot. Next year's going to be a different story. He's got Dill Brown coming to town and that. But look, for the rest of the year, let's hope he nails this spot and makes it his own. Because he was really good. He fit right in with what we're doing. Didn't stifle a thing. Didn't stifle anything. Good decision making and all that. So he was really, really good. Was there anyone else that I kind of glanced over in my notes that I wanted to talk about? Brody, Dylan Lucas and Kai Pearce-Paul, not the big highlight games we saw from them, but Kai, unfortunately, when Gags went missing, he had to sort of slot in there for center a bit, and unfortunately, Herbie was an absolute handful. Didn't I pick one of the great player battles? Dane Gagai and Herbie Farnworth. Unfortunately, that period of time when Dane was gone, that's when, the Dolphins did hit the lead. Got those 2 tries on us. It wasn't a lead they held on too long. Thank you to Francis Molo, absolute coach killer, dropping the ball. How many times do you see that straight after you score points? A prop drops the ball off the hit up off the restart there. But the back row was pretty good. Again, not the massive highlight game. It was more dominated by the spine players and the outside backs, really, this one. But to sum it all up, really, both gritty and pretty performance. We've seen so many gritty performances by the Newcastle Knights. We know we got that in. We know the Titanium Forge filled defense is there. We just want to see that blueprint, the evolution of the Newcastle Knights attack. We see little glimpses of it here and there, and we look really good. And then before we know it's gone away. The confidence is eroded. And I think that's what I was getting to a couple months ago, is it just felt like the Newcastle Knights were stripped of any confidence. Well, this team that played this week looked like a team full of confidence. As I said, expansive football, looked really good. Loving what we're seeing. The blueprints there. Let's hope Adam O'Brien really leans into it, and Blake Green, because one side of the ball, we're really good. Defense is quite good. As I said, only leaking 20 points to a team that have been putting, what do we say, about 153, 156 odd points the last 3 weeks, to a team that hasn't been scoring a lot of points and had a man in the sin bin, and they can only get 20 on us, Battlers. So, much like that Bulldogs game when we had everything go against us, I think they only managed to put 20 on us as well. So, defense certainly not an issue for the Knights, but it was nice to see some free-flowing, expansive attacking football once more. So maybe Dominic Young, as I said before, brought that with him. Maybe it's just that 2023 vibes of just having Dom back in the building once more has brought that for the Newcastle Knights. So, yeah, great performance by the boys. I'm sure everyone had a very similar reaction as I did towards the end of that game. And, geez, what a clutch play, as I said. Going down there, a short side raid by KP. I thought, geez, they're going to try and stay in the middle here, go for the field goal. I was thinking, Christ, who's going to kick a field goal? I thought, surely Jack Hoggett. They're going to try and just go, Hail Mary. This is going to be it. This is going to be it. Just go for the field goal. But no, Kalen Ponga decides to go down the short side. And then, yeah, Linc's back up to Cogs. Cogs gets tackled on the 30, and we're thinking, fuck, who are they going to go now? And then Phoenix Crossland with a great end-over-end bomb. And then, fuck it, I didn't even get to that. Phoenix Crossland. Let's talk about Phoenix Crossland, actually. Now, as I'm watching the game unfold and talking with the battlers during the live stream, I've got a sneaky suspicion that the Newcastle Knights now have Phoenix Crossland plan to be their number 13 moving forward. Now, when you think about it, Sweet Potato is, by all reports, being given the tap on the shoulder, this infamous tap on the shoulder by Peter O'Sullivan saying your services will no longer be required. And then now you got this news about Talon De Silva, who's an out-and-out hooker. He's an out-and-out hooker. And we know we're going to lose our boy Jaden Brayley. Mal Meninga now has picked up the Perth job. I think we were all sitting out expecting Brad Arthur to be the guy, and we're thinking, well, where's that going to leave Matt Arthur? So, look, if Brad doesn't pick up a job elsewhere, Matty Arthur's still in the building, and we're going to be looking for a hooker. So maybe, just maybe, Talon De Silva, they're thinking is a guy to come in and do that. If they're thinking, well, long-term, Crossland's going to be a 13. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Crossland at 13. He's a very versatile football player. Obviously came through as a half before shifting into the hooker role. He locked down that position. 2023 was a breakout year. We know his line speed and defense is absolutely superb. Let's have a look. What were some of his statistics, Phoenix, from this game? Not many run meters. 3 runs for 18 run meters. But I'm sure that wasn't the game plan for Phoenix Crossland. 47 tackles, 3 missed. So look, not as impressive as last week, but still great link man in the middle. As I said, versatility. Like, put that ball up for that last try. Talk about clutch. Talk about a clutch play. So I don't know. Just reading the tea leaves, I'm thinking that may be what happens. And his father-in-law is the great Billy Peden, the greatest Newcastle Knights lock of all time. Dual premiership winner, 2-time try scorer in the 2001 grand final. The stars are aligning, I think. I think Billy Peden's son-in-law might just be the Knights' next lock forward. You let me know. You're going to Linc, you're fucking crazy, mate. You're reading too far into it. Well, this Talon De Silva thing, I don't know. You let me know. All right, let's move along, shall we, to some burning questions brought to you by Get Out Alive Fire Safety Training. If you work in a business, battlers, chances are you probably aren't prepared for fire or emergency. So make sure you get in contact with Get Out Alive Fire Safety Training for your training, plans, and procedures. Because if you do not learn, you will burn. All right, what have the battlers got for us, Lou?
Loops has asked, have you heard any news about Greg Legg?
Looking at the injury report, they reckon he's going to be back next week, mate. Reckon he'll be back next week. They said expected round 17, mate. So I think it's anything too hectic. But yeah, the Knights' official return date, mate, that's what they put. So I suspect he'll be back for the Raiders clash next week, dude.
Christopher's asked, hey, Linc, have you heard from Sue about Dom since his return to the Knights?
I've been asked this a few times. I haven't as of yet. I have not. I'll reach out. I'll do that right after the show, and I'll congratulate her on her son's triumphant return to the club that he loves. And she's a good egg, Sue. She's a good egg, good sport. She called me out. She's like, oh, what did she say? She was saying something about. I was trying not to highlight. Maybe we weren't bagging out Dom. We certainly weren't bagging out. I know we called him Voldemort and had a bit of fun there. It was like, hurt people, Sue. But you know what? Let bygones be bygones.
Did she say something like, "Oh, that's not what I heard"?
Yeah, she said something a little bit cheeky. She's a good sport though, so we all know when she was playing. She'd be listening to this right now, Sue. I'm sure she's mowing the lawn and doing the gardening or doing something and having a good old laugh. So. The battlers absolutely missed your son, Sue, and he's back where he belongs. As I said, it's like that lost pair of jeans that's fallen into the back of your wardrobe and you find them again. You put them on, they feel right, they look good, And yeah, he just slotted straight in, didn't he? No one, it didn't look like he missed a beat. And I think Adam O'Brien even said it's like he never left the place, which is sensational. Yeah, hit the ground running. What more do you want from a guy? As I said, 640 odd days since he last played for us. Came in and did that. He was really, really good, Dom. So, yeah, mad props to him.
Oh, look who it is.
Oh, Sue's in the building.
I'm listening. Hey, Sue.
Oh, hey, Sue, how you doing? Wow, there you go. Wowee. What hour of the day is it over there? Jeez, there you go. Wowee. Well, there you go. I don't know what to say, Sue. I'm absolutely speechless. Nah, seriously, Sue, we absolutely love having your son back at the club. It feels right. We've missed him. And let's be honest, Sue, we all know there's a massive difference between Rooster supporters and the battlers that are the Newcastle Knights supporters. We love our rugby league football. We love our players. And, yeah, we all have, honestly, Sue, one of the core memories that I'll be passing down to my grandkids will be when your son scored one of the great tries that I happened to be there for, 2023 against the Raiders. This is crazy because someone was saying to me, Dom's first game back at home is all against the Raiders, which was his last home game for the Newcastle Knights, that round one finals game. To this day, I still get, it was only not that long ago. I swear on TikTok, I must have played the thing 10 times over. Just seeing that crowd going bonkers.
Why does this video go for an hour?
Oh my God. It's so good. It honestly is probably for me personally, one of the top 5 Newcastle Knights tries of all time. It was so good. Just everything that led up to it. We all went on that magical ride. That was the 10th game we won in a row. He's broken the try scoring record. It was against the Dragons in the regular season. It was just what a time to be alive. And I remember back then, I remember filming videos about soak it all up now, battlers. I think we had a month left of Dom. I'm like, just try and soak. I know it sucks, but just soak it all in. Soak it all in because we got a good one. But yeah, fairy tales happen. Fairy tales happen.
Sue said 11:18 a.m. Have a lovely day walking and listening in the sun. Warmer in Pommyland.
Oh, there you go. It's good to have you back, Sue. We didn't just get Dom back. We got Sue back as well. So how good's that? Very good. All right. What do we got?
Matthew said, would Sean Johnson in his prime would play for our Newcastle Knights team? Your thoughts, Lincoln?
Would Sean Johnson in his prime what's that say? Would Sean Johnson in his prime play for our Newcastle Knights team? Your thoughts? Oh, would I'm so confused by this question. Would Sean Johnson in his prime play for our Newcastle Knights team? Your thoughts? Sean Johnson in his prime would thrive in this team, Matthew. Yeah, geez. 2011 burst onto the scene, Sean Johnson. He was something else. You talk about X Factor. I could just imagine the absolute damage Sean Johnson and Kalen Ponga could do. When he first came in, you got to remember it was 2 young halfbacks. You had Daly Cherry Evans up against Shawnee Johnson. Took both their teams to a respective grand final, both in their rookie year, which is pretty crazy to think about. But yeah, geez, he was electric. Yeah, he would do some absolute damage, mate. He would do some damage, especially with the edges we got now. Absolutely. I could see Shawnee Johnson ripping and tearing for the Knights, pal. Give me a time machine, mate. We'll go back and sign him.
Josh has asked, how do you think the Knights will go in the next 4 games against Raiders, Storm Warriors, and Raiders again?
Yeah. Now I watched the Raiders game with my brother. Jeez Louise. Wasn't he going off? Yeah, it was almost a tale of 2 halves. The Raiders started quite well. Tigers came back in the second half and could have beat them. Could have beat them. I think we can do it. I think we can do it. It's all about confidence. I keep saying the defense is there. And the Raiders, though, they're tough and gritty. They know what they're all about. I think that the key to the Raiders' success is they know what kind of team they are, and Ricky's has got them to buy in. Where we're sort of still struggling a little bit, I think, in attack. But maybe, as I said before, maybe Dom coming back kind of reinvigorates, bring that 2023 sort of energy, that expansive type football, contesting high kicks once more, all that stuff. Yeah, we can do it, man. I got no doubt. And we're going to have some names back. I said, Greggy Marzu back. I'm expecting JSAF to be named back. He's going to be a huge inclusion. Unfortunately, Razor, highly unlikely he'll be named. That one sucks. And wasn't there some yarn you were saying before, something about Tyson Gamble? Did he pick up an injury in Cup today?
Yeah, I haven't been able to see anything yet. A lot of people are asking how he is, but yeah, I haven't.
Yeah. Lou said something about there was some comments getting around about did Gamble pick up an injury in Cup? I couldn't find anything just before I went there. I tried looking for it. I can't find a thing. So if you know something I don't know, drop a comment. But because, yeah, that's going to be the interesting one. When Razor went down as well, do they lean back into Jacko? Because I thought Jacko played pretty good. But, yeah, obviously they're favouring Tyson Gamble. But if he's picked up an injury, well, the doors are wide open there for Jackson Hastings to make his return once more to the team. So, there's some tough games there. They're all top 4 teams. But, look, the Warriors went down to an understrength Penrith team. And I think this competition this year, if any team turns up on their day, they can win. They can win. Like, we're not that far out. Like, looking at the ladder, where do we sit now on the ladder? Let me take a look at the competition. So the Newcastle Knights currently sit 13th with 6 wins. But look right above us. You got, it's the buys that do my head in. Can't stand these bloody 2 points for buys. This is what ruins it, trying to guess who's where. But, 6 wins, and then right above us, you've got the Cowboys and Dragons, but they've got extra buys on us, so that skews things a little bit. The Sea Eagles, they're also on 6 wins. So it's not until you get to the Dolphins, Panthers, 6 wins. Like, Panthers have got, what have they got? They got 1 buy. Like, we're the same as the Panthers. We've only got 1 buy. They've had 2 buys. Oh, this does my fucking head in. These 2 points for buys, seriously, they got to piss it off. Does my head in.
Having an NSYNC buy.
It does my head in. It just warps the competition. You've got some teams have had, up until a couple of weeks ago, had no buys. Some had 2, so they get an extra 4 competition points to teams that have won more games but haven't had a buy. It fucks with things. But look, Newcastle Knights sitting on 6 wins. And teams currently on 6 wins, Sea Eagles, Panthers, and the Panthers are in the 8 with 6 wins. So look, we're in touch. We're in touch, and the team coming last, Titans and Parramatta 4. So, there's not much there. You get string a couple of games together. We could be sitting here in a month's time and the Knights are sitting in the 8. So who knows? Who knows? Anyone on their day could beat anyone. And top 4 teams, apart from the Warriors, would expect maybe a couple of Origin players. So, have a look. Storm. Hopefully, we're playing the Storm right around that Origin period. That'd be nice. We need that.
Tony's asked, who was better, Johnson or Benji?
Oh shit, that's a tough one. Johnson or Benji? Wow. I prefer Sean. I've always liked Sean Johnson more.
Me too.
Yeah, but that's a really tough comparison, mate. I don't think I'm the authority to really comment on that as an outsider. I don't know them inside and out. Both massively instrumental, very similar type players, though, very exciting football players. You'd have to, I don't know. I tell you what, one thing that Shawnee had over Benji was the end of his career. Shawnee had a real great renaissance period. I don't know. It sucks that he went to the Sharkies. When there's those players that just look weird in other jerseys. We'll look back at Dominic Young. Well, Dominic Young in a Roosters jersey just never looked right. Well, that was the same for me with Sean Johnson in a Sharks jersey. Should have always been a Warrior. But he had a great renaissance. So now he sort of had a couple of light years there, but finished strong. Got the Warriors to a top 4 finish. Just sucks they didn't make it all the way for Shawnee. He deserved a premiership, but nearly picked up a Dally M. It was only because Kalen Ponga had one of the great individual seasons. Took the Dally M away from Sean Johnson in his last year. So you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to give it to Shawnee Johnson, even though he didn't get a premiership. and Benji did. I'm going to give it to Shawnee. Talk myself into it.
Christopher's asked, with the Raiders not re-signing Papa, should the Knights consider giving him 1 year? We could use his experience for the young guys.
Exactly what I was thinking. I was shocked after that game on Friday night. The commentary team were talking about, that the Raiders not offering Josh Papali'i another year. I thought that was bonkers, much like what we're going through with Gags. Josh Papali'i, the most capped Raider of all time. Is he the player that he was 5-10 years ago? No. But geez, he still goes bloody hard. And you know what? If we're in a position where we haven't signed some quality props, mate, I would in a heartbeat. I'd love Josh Papali'i, as you said, just for the younger guys to bring that experience. Like, mate, there's what do they say? Always fear the old warrior, mate. So yeah, I would take Josh Papali'i. I think it's crazy. I think it's such a shame. That'll be another one where it'll look, even if he came to the Knights, it'll look weird. Like, do you remember that time Josh Papali'i played that 1 year for the Knights? Just, yeah, much like Gags. Maybe we do a swap with Gags? You have our old fella, we'll have your old fella, and we just call it straight swap. Hey? Maybe that's what it is. Anyways. But yes, to answer your question, absolutely, I'd take Josh Papali'i.
Papa's asked, who will play 5'8", Hastings or Gamble?
If from what we've heard about these things about Gamble picking up an injury, well, that'll just open the doors for Jacko. But I don't know. It just seems like it's got to be the worst case scenario before they'll pick Jacko. But at this point in time, if they were both healthy, I'd honestly go Jacko. I thought Jacko was pretty good against the Roosters.
Yeah.
Playing on the right there, he's got Dom back as well. So, you got even more of that 2023 type team there. You still got some younger guys, which, I thought, you still got a sprinkling of those guys in there. And who better to bring them in than the New South Wales captain? So, it's going to be interesting. But if Gamble's fit, you'd probably think they're going to run with Gamble once more, mate.
Papa's asked, hey, Linc, just wondering what do you reckon our halves will be next year?
I guarantee you, mate, it's going to be Razor Sharp 7 and it'll be Dylan Brown 6, mate. I'm still on, my DMs are always open. I'm waiting for someone to try and give me a very valid reason why Razor Sharp can't play 7. No one's told me why yet. I can't see why you can't play. Yeah, you can't play Dill one side, Razor the other, even if they are both more of that running type threat. As I said, I think even Joey gave it a stamp of approval for Razor Sharp to be a 7. So if he can say he can do it, who am I to say he can't? That's what I think they'll do, mate, for sure.
This is going back to when we were talking about Shills. Lindsay said, haters will hate. Don't listen to all the people who are always negative about everything. It would be depressing being a keyboard warrior. Just try put shit on everyone else to make themselves feel better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think they just remember a couple of errors and they just like to kick a bloke while he's down. He's got a big future, man. I really love Hank. Old Chris Evans with a buzz cut. Good player. We've got a good one there. Got a good one. All right, is that rounding out the burning questions, Lou?
Nathan's just made a point. Did you notice when Sharp left the field, Ponga played wider at the back and set up 2 tries? Needs to go back to that style.
Yeah, you're right, mate. They did have to do a bit of a reshuffle there and rejig the attack, and it looked good, didn't it? Particularly, we all know he loves that left side dominant, loves that right to left pass, and yeah, that's what when Razor did go down, we're going, oh boy. Okay, that's a big kick in the dick. He's worth some points to this team, but they rejigged things and credit to him. And as I said, that's why Kalen Ponga and Jack Cogger picked up my pay cat points this week because they found a way and they steered the team around and had their moments and capitalized on them. So I'm with you, mate. They were good, real good. All right. That will wrap up this week's Match Rewind episode. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, all United content, whatever social media platform you are wasting your time on. I can guarantee you we are there. Huge shout out to all the battlers who've tuned in all the shows this week. It has been monumental. What have I done? I've done the roster review show. We did the New South Wales stream team. Now backing up to this. The Knights watch, holy dooly, doing some overtime this week, Battlers. Content for days. But yes, Battlers, make sure you stay tuned for the roster review shows. We take on the Raiders in our round 17 clash. Going to be another big show there. But Battlers, I'm getting the Adam O'Brien out of here. I'll see you then on Tuesday.